In 1880, land in northwest Colorado was opened up for adventurous souls to expand, explore, and conquer. The northwest corner of Colorado was previously occupied by several different Ute Indian tribes. The Ute expulsion in the late 19th century was quickly followed by the creation of many small towns in the region. The U.S. government, wanting to maintain their claim over land through occupation, created incentives to draw Americans to settle on this dangerous and isolated frontier. The Homestead Act of 1862 gave Americans the opportunity to claim large tracts of land, usually 160 acres, for a small fee, as long as they lived on that land for at least 5 years. President Taft changed that minimum to 3 years in 1912 in order to compete with Canadian homesteading requirements, which were much more appealing at the time. Taft also allowed for 5 months away from land during the year, so that homesteaders could continue to earn money in the city after their crop had been harvested. Homesteading was difficult work. Living in a harsh climate with little access to resources, homesteaders learned to fend for themselves. Homesteader Harry Ratliff from Rifle, Colorado warned, "I want to tell you also that homesteading is no picnic. You will be hungry, cold, and ragged before you get through the rough and early stages. Don't expect too much. Remember, there is nothing but sagebrush and wild land for miles and miles. Only coyotes and range cattle, perhaps an occasional cow camp. But under all of this is the rich, productive mountain soil, a wheat and oat country, and the finest natural pastureland in the Intermountain region. Don't come and have to starve yourself and your family. Don't come to be a burden on your fellow homesteaders. They will have all they can do to take care of themselves. And above all, don't come unless you have the stuff in you to win against great obstacles and hardships, like all pioneers have to suffer." The winters in Routt County were especially tough. As one woman, who refers to herself as Pioneer Grandma, remembers, "We homesteaded in Routt County in 1902. In September 1903, it rained about a week, and then it just shoveled down about 2 feet of this beautiful white stuff the poets write about. Our nice crop of oats was laid flat. We had a dirt roof on our log cabin, and the rain had given it a good soaking when the snow started. We were eating supper when we heard a loud crack and then another, and there was our roof coming down over our heads. The big ridge pole had broken. Well, Grandpa started throwing kids out the door, and worst of it, he didn't open the door clear up before he started. Well, we all got out in time. The kids and I slept in the hen house with the hens, and Dad and Grandpa slept in the barn with the horses. The next day, we propped up the roof so we could live in the house again, but I was a long time getting over that scare." Despite the hardships that homesteading presented, thousands of people poured into Colorado to claim land and try to make a new life for themselves. Hoping to escape economic hardships and social structures of the East, the West opened up opportunities of new freedom not accessible on the East, attracting bandits, ex-slaves, women, immigrants looking for work, men hoping to provide a better life for their families, and those wanting to make it rich. One famous homesteader from Browns Park was Ann Bassett Willis, better known as Queen Anne, an alleged cattle rustler and boss of the notorious Bassett Gang. She was accused of heading a band of outlaws and being an intimate pal of famous desperados like Butch Cassidy and Eliza Lay. Some reports claim she was a cattle rustler of great skill, a queen of crime in wild and rough Browns Park. Others spoke out on her behalf, saying that she was only a small rancher of pioneer stock who had the courage to resist the big cattle companies who attempted to crowd her off the open range. By 1921, the government was receiving thousands of homesteading inquiries a year. Due to decreasing amounts of public land, the government encouraged prospective homesteaders to buy cheap land which had already been settled. Homesteading requests decreased in the following years as land supply went down. By 1935, President Roosevelt designated all remaining public lands in Colorado for conservation purposes, effectively ending homesteading in the state. Though homesteading had technically ended in Colorado, people were still migrating to the Centennial State for cheap land and a new life through the 20th century. Late pioneers African Americans May and Daisy Williams lived in Strawberry Park. May moved to Strawberry Park in 1936 to escape the racism in Tennessee. Though Colorado was not a land absent of racism, the laws surrounding African Americans were much less restrictive. Her husband worked at the coal mines at Mount Harris and as a carpenter. May raised strawberries and raspberries and sold them at a roadside stand. Her berry business grew, and she asked her sister Daisy to come out and help. Together, they started a jam and jelly factory named the Williams Manufacturing Company. Eventually, the women bought 10 acres apiece and farmed them jointly. May decided to grow all her own food and raise her own chickens and open a restaurant. Her fried chicken was the talk of the Western Slope. When people visited, they were always looking for places to stay. So May and Daisy erected cabins on their property with sleeping rooms. 2 pine cabins came into being and eventually accommodated 40 people apiece. Daisy Anderson described Steamboat as the promised land. After she moved to Colorado, she was able to become an author, a poet,